Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Secrets and Analysis for Star vs. the Force of Evil. This week, me and Michael are going to discuss Game of Flags and Girls' Day Out. So I think Game of Flags was the better of the two episodes, at least in terms of lore and what we learned. We actually did not learn too much or anything at all lore-wise from Girls' Day Out, but in Game of Flags, especially at the end of the episode, we see that there is something pretty big that it's leading up to.
Yeah, so basically Star's mom turned into this giant butterfly, which is kind of a nod back to Muberty. Now, you said that there was some sort of theory going around with Marco and how that might play a role in his future, his destiny, or whatever.
Yeah, we can talk about that now. Actually, basically in Red Belt, episode Red Belt, Marco has a dream where he was kind of surrounded by, he was in a locker where he was surrounded by Muberty hearts, and he's wearing a suit, which is, toffee, or we don't know what that could be about. But it shows that Muberty will probably be really important. People were not really sure where it went back in Red Belt, what it was foreshadowing to. But now that we have seen the Muberty form again with with Star's mother, it's definitely going to have a big role in the series. And what does this mean that we saw him kind of in the locker with a bunch of hearts? Does this mean that they'll harm him, they'll save him, he'll have something to do with them? There's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah, what's interesting is he thought he was dead, and we know that the Mumins basically killed off a lot of the monsters, and the general theory is that Marco is supposed to be assisting the monsters, since he has the tentacle hand, and Toffee referenced that he was a disappointment. So it's possible that Marco's destiny or whatever is that he's supposed to be on the side of the monsters, and since the Mumins ended up killing monsters, that could be a foreshadowing there, okay, well, Marco's, he thinks he's dead, and he had little Muberty hearts around him, so that could be symbolism for that.
Oh yeah, definitely, that's great. So going back to the very beginning of the episode, we see that we learn a pretty important thing about Star's family. She's actually from two different types of Mumins. So the king is actually a Johansson, which is another royal family. So he's still royal, but he's just from a less civilized family, I guess you could say. And we see that he married the queen, and that shows that she was a bit of a rebel in her youth than we thought she probably would have been, seeing how she acts right now.
Right.
Because she married somebody from a different family, which was definitely frowned upon. And I wonder kind of what made her into the person she is today.
Yeah, probably just the general expectation of being the queen, I would assume. She seems like she just kind of rolled with the punches and just dealt with queen stuff.
Yeah, maybe she was in her rebel phase back then.
What was really interesting, sorry to cut you off. What was interesting is when, I don't know if this has ever happened before, but when Star got kind of angry, the wand turned green.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a certain spell or whatever, or if this is some sort of foreshadowing where we know Ludo has the other half of the wand, and his wand is usually green, and we know he uses more dark magic. I don't know if this is some sort of foreshadowing where the wands are connected and it's kind of feeding off of Star's dark energy of some sort, and that could end up being a problem in the future, or something like that. I'm not sure.
I think it's just a reminder that the wand is still broken. We can see that it's broken, it's split in half. Like in the first episode of season 2, how it was malfunctioning. It seems to kind of be under control, but maybe at any moment it could just go haywire again. Yeah, so I was thinking. But yeah, green is the color of evil kind of in this show, especially with the wand, the other half.
Yeah.
So we also see that we also get kind of more confirmation that the butterfly women in general just get cheek marks. Not all of them have them, but some of them, and none of the males have them, it seems, and none of the Johansons have them. And I thought it was cute that there was a girl at the kid table with crown cheek marks. So pretty much anything goes, it seems, with the cheek marks, but there is some general rules to who has them and who doesn't have them.
Right. It's interesting. She had a crown cheek marks, and that kind of goes against the whole suit of cards theory or whatever, where it's just hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. But this also kind of alludes back to Miss Hanus possibly being related to the butterflies some way.
Yeah, more closely to Star and her mother than the rest of them. So she probably has like a really close connection as she follows the suit pattern.
Yeah.
Rather than the other Mumins who either just have like stars or like other shapes like that.
Yeah.
Also, something interesting to know, we got to see like that Mumin corn is really coveted. It's like a really valuable food. Like I don't know if like it's any different than Earth corn, but people seem to love it there. It's like their biggest crop, and the monsters obviously want to steal that. So yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like it's better than Earth corn, most likely. I liked the little nod where there was like a rain cloud and Marco's like, nope, not doing wet socks. Like I like how that's still a thing that they bring back.
Yeah, we've seen before that he is not a fan of wet socks at all.
Yeah.
So, that goes into when they start the game of flags, which Star is not supposed to participate in, but she and Marco do anyways. And when they do, we get to see how different these two families are, and they both play dirty, but in very different ways.
Yeah.
So everybody should have probably seen this coming, but the queen eventually finds out about Star's antics, and she's not at all happy with that. And this actually, and right before that, we get to see that, or during that, we get to see that Star goes kind of crazy over the game. And, in the end, we learned that she was doing that to help out both sides of the families, but she just acted really weird. She does that sometimes. That's just Star, I guess. But right when, she's about to win, kind of, her mother comes in, and we get to see her Muperty form, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I guess I don't know how Star is supposed to grow into that, like, because she already went through puberty. She did the cocoon. Like, is there another cocoon that she has to go through, or is it just gonna naturally grow over time? It's something she could just activate. Really interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the more she dips down or goes into, can learn more about her powers, she'll be actually able to use it like a weapon that her mother was able to do and control it and use it to its full potential, which it seems pretty amazing. She had like the mom had all these arms, and she grew wings, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, really cool to see. It was a really good. It was a really good episode. We only got a little bit of lore and stuff, but I love like the joke. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to family dinners, and then like when she's like, Marco's like, oh, what's happening? She was like, adult stuff, and they're just arguing. They're just fighting. Like that's hit so home for me. It was amazing.
Yeah, and this episode really made me like Star's mom a lot more than I previously had been. She's becoming very likable, which is something that I didn't feel when I first met her. And we can also see that she can use powers without the wand, so that's just maybe something that the Butterfly family or the royalty in the Butterfly family can do, which is pretty cool. And shows that the wand might just be something to assist Star's magic. So maybe in the end, if she does end up losing the wand, it won't be the worst thing, or it won't be the end, because she'll still be able to dip down for herself and still find some powers inside herself.
Yeah, I feel like the wand isn't just an assistant. I feel like there's probably certain spells you can only do with the wand.
True.
And then there's some spells you can do on your own. That's my theory.
Yeah, that makes sense. And at the very end, the one who wins is Marco, not either of the families. So it's just Marco wins, and he's very proud of that. So that pretty much covers that episode. It was a great episode, in my opinion. I loved, obviously, the end where we got to see the Muperty form in all its glory and what Star could be if she, truly uses her powers, or learns about her powers and tries to study. I don't know how her mom was at her age. We know she was a rebel, but did she study at all? We don't know. But eventually, I think Star will get there by the end of the series.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll be kind of like a Steven thing where we see him learn his powers and use his powers over time. Yes,
definitely. Yeah. Although Steven, obviously, he's learned a lot of powers. He just doesn't have. We don't think he has full control over all of them yet.
Not quite, but he's definitely way miles and miles ahead of where he was in season 1. Granted, he has more help than Star does, kind of.
Yeah.
But I guess she has Glossaric.
Yeah, she doesn't really ask for help too much either.
Yeah, that's also a problem.
So then we go, next episode is Girls' Day Out. And this episode, like I said before, was not very important lore-wise, story-wise, but we did get some Janna character development, and she's a pretty cool character.
Yeah, I liked my favorite part of this episode when was when Star was like, "This is fake," and she's like, "Oh, every election's fake." That was great.
Yeah, that was a great joke. Obviously,
How topical.
Yeah, she's a smart character like that who would make jokes like that.
Yeah.
Something a little quick I wanted to note was that when Star was thrown into the detention room and she jumps up, we can see her little Muperty wings. I'm not sure if we've really seen them since Muperty, but it's like they're still there. Like, even though they're very tiny, I don't know if we've ever seen them since then. Or I think maybe she's tried to fly before, but it didn't work out. But I can't remember off the top of my head if she has. But it's just great that they didn't like, oh, yeah, she got the wings and we're never going to see them until she really needs it.
Oh, yeah. And
especially
after the Game of Flags, I don't think they're going to forget about that. It definitely seems like it's going to play an important role.
Yeah. So the plot of this episode, Star goes to detention and basically becomes the mayor of it. She was elected without her knowledge. And the kids in detention, or one of the kids, wants to get some batteries into a remote that they have so they can watch a wrestling match, which is pretty interesting. And I did like the kids in detention, like the how they like their personalities and their designs. And especially the girl who spoke German was pretty funny. She wanted to get a guillotine to chop the head off of her bear.
Normal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main problem I had with this episode, which I'm disappointed it was never mentioned, was that Star almost definitely could have just made some batteries. Like, she can create a window in a wall that just doesn't have a window, but she can't make batteries?
And she can create living creatures.
Yeah.
They can't make batteries. That's a very good point.
that was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, I swear to God, if they don't mention that she could have made batteries, I'd be very upset, and they never did.
I think a lot of episodes could have been a lot shorter had Star been able to do something with her wand, or she thought of that at that moment. Like, are you serious, Star? Yeah. But the episodes wouldn't work out, a lot of them, if she was.
See, I would have been fine with it had she tried to make batteries and she just couldn't do it, because we know she doesn't really have all her spells down. Yeah. So if she just tried to materialize some batteries and it just came out wrong, and then she's like, okay, we're just gonna have to get some batteries, then I would have been fine with it. But the fact that they never brought up the fact that she has a wand, she can just make batteries, is annoying.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But instead of just making batteries, they have to go get some from the store. That's what they think. So they end up sneaking around the school, and they get into they hide and stuff, and they see Oscar again, who's able to actually give them some batteries, thankfully. So they didn't actually have to go to the store in the end. But I mean, I guess it's nice to see him again, and Star is still infatuated with him. Yep.
Not much to say about Oscar, really.
Yeah. And in the meanwhile, Marco has his hand stuck in a pipe, trying to get the hamster, which I thought was funny.
Which was actually kind of interesting, because I don't think it was the same arm, but it was kind of reminiscent of the tentacle hand.
Oh no! Yeah. Bringing that up.
So I think that was kind of a foreshadowing that.
Is it the right or left arm?
Let's look it up. Okay, so yeah, it was he had the tentacle on his right arm and then the pipe on his left arm. So.
So close.
It may or may not be a foreshadowing of some sort. I have no idea. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe the tentacle is going to take over both his arms.
His whole body. He's just a monster. He'll just be a monster. Which I guess some people probably think that is where it's going towards a little bit with Marco's character. So who knows?
I guess we'll see.
But his treatment from the firefighters was hilarious. They just didn't notice him at first. He's like, down here. And then they just cut it off, and his arm is stuck in the thing still. That's funny.
Yeah, whatever.
So then Star and Janna get back to the detention right before the teacher sees them. Obviously, the teacher was kind of distracted by the snake that Janna had in the chips, which she opened. Yeah, and then they get to see the match, the wrestling match. So it's a happy ending, and Janna becomes deputy mayor. So it was just a great, it was like a funny episode in that way, and I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the writing.
Oh, shoot.
Wait. No, I like the writing in this episode more than Goblin Dogs. I just thought the jokes hit harder. It was generally more generally more funny. But yeah, it was a good episode. Again, we didn't learn anything. That's my only real complaint about this season, is we're not getting much story development or plot development in terms of Ludo and Toffee and all that. So I really hope they start picking that up more.
I mean, Ludo's changed a lot, but
Yeah.
just no Toffee at all. Like, what is this? He was such an amazing character. I think by this time last season, we had seen him. He was introduced. So, I mean, hopefully soon. We know the next few episode titles, which I don't really know off the top of my head. But we better see him. Just by then, like, it'd be weird unless he's totally dead, which
No,
a lot of
no
people
way.
are like, there's no way.
No way.
He's gone forever. That's just weird.
Yeah, but the episode titles or the descriptions definitely seemed interesting. So I feel like we'll be getting into more serious territory pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that pretty much covers it. Like I said, not too much from these 2 episodes, but they were still funny, and it made me laugh. And so I think that pretty much covers it for this video, and we'll be back next week with the next couple episodes. So I'll see you then.
Later.